certificate agency are financial instruments, taxes, usually. And the reason why you do that is that you don't want the market to respond. You want to increase fuel prices. You want to introduce a petroleum tax. Then you come and then lay it. Do you know what the dealers will do? They'll stop selling petrol in the market and wait for the day that you will pass the tax because you will not increase the price for them. That's what they will do. Do you get it? So a lot of the financial instruments that are tax related, the day we bring it, that day we'll pass it so that the market is stable. It doesn't disrupt activities in the market. Those are the real reasons why we use certificate of agency. The last one is when we are really late on an international agreement, usually. When Ghana is late on an international obligation, and then we need to meet a timeline, and we say, look, we must pass this thing, otherwise we are late. We're supposed to have passed this. And so we come and then we take it through certificate of agency. Otherwise, we don't likely accept to take bills through certificate of agency. And then, what was the last question? There was a question about alcohol and then okay, so LGBTQ and then Kotoka International Airport. It used to be called, I think, Accra International Airport, I'm told. That was the name. That was the name before the people who changed it went and changed it. And it is not fair to the people of Accra that, you know, an airport, they've given you land to build an airport, and the airport is named after them, and then you are going to change it and put your name. Well, you didn't give the land for the construction of the airport. So, to honor the people of Accra, who gave the land, we're going back to using Accra as the name of the airport. So that's all that it is about. That's all that it is about. So that's really what it is. That's really what it is. That the thing was called Accra International Airport. So let us go back to. I think that was the name. Those of you who are older than me in this room, that was the name. Yeah, so why was it changed? There was no basis for changing it. We are resetting Ghana. So it has nothing to do with the personality of Kotoka. I mean, I don't know him, so I don't think there's a reason why an airport should not be named after him. But if you go and change somebody's name and put your name, tomorrow somebody also can remove your name and put somebody's name. Airport, you know, honors the people of Accra who have sacrificed their land for the building of the capital city. And so we need to honor them and show appreciation. So Accra International Airport. Alcohol control regulations. I think that you may not get it, but it's part of regulations that need to be passed under the Food and Drugs Authority. When we say alcohol control regulations, sometimes you think that we're talking about its consumption. It's also its advertising, its marketing on television. Do you get it? The existing regulation is in guidelines. So the FDA has guidelines that say you cannot advertise Guinness during sports programs. You cannot advertise alcoholic beverages during, sporting activities. But there's really no regulation that says so. So they're using guidelines. So they want actual regulations to deal with issues like that. You can't sell alcohol to people of a certain age, a minor, things like that. You can't sell alcohol at certain locations. You need a license to be able to sell, alcohol. In a lot of jurisdictions, all those regulations are there. If you are not fortunate and you have features that make you look like a child, very grown people have entered bars in the UK or US and they've been asked to produce their passports before they will sell alcohol to them. Is that not what is happening? So all those are captured in regulations, and that is what it is all about. If you do that, ultimately, you will be able to address the intake of alcohol. You'll be able to address when people take it, which people take it, and where they take it. That's how you manage alcohol abuse, you know. And then also, you create provision, you make provision for counseling and other, you know, what do you call it, rehabilitation, you know, programs for people who, you know, are engaged in alcohol abuse, and it is having health implications on them. So I think that's basically what they are trying to do. Yes, I think we've covered all the questions. So LGBTQ.
My question is not been and
privileges. The referral to privileges committee. We'll ask the chairman of the committee how far he has gone with his work. The first deputy speaker is the chairperson of the committee. If you recall, the referrals were done when we were busy with, you know, the budget, and then immediately thereafter went on recess. Members were not available to meet, and so it is only maybe this meeting that they will have the opportunity to look at those things. LGBTQ, I'm surprised you are asking me this question. You were in the House when I advocated that we should treat the bill as having been passed. You recall? I said treat it as having been passed because we worked on it in this House and then we passed it. And it was taken to a president and he refused to sign. There's no constitutional provision regarding what happens when he refuses to sign and then he's no longer president, but another person is sitting there as a president. So I advocated that. Let's treat it as having been passed. And then he doesn't return it to us. Then you people said, no, especially the minority. No, we won't treat it as passed. We won't treat it as passed. We must work on a new one. We said, okay, work on a new one and let's see. Now you are not able to work on a new one, and then you are blaming me that your new one is not getting traction. If you had agreed with me at that time, then let's treat it as passed because as far as I'm concerned, we passed it. By now, we would have had LGBTQ legislation. But you chose a different route. Now, I don't determine, you know, what business is given priority in the House. It's me and the Speaker and leadership. So when you don't raise those issues at the right forum, yeah, so those issues, I think that so far as I'm concerned, our side has always been committed to the bill being passed. The President has expressed his readiness to sign it any time that it is passed. He's raised a few issues which actually relates to media freedom, if you recall. Most of the concerns that the President raised had to do with just media freedom, because there are some provisions that tend to appear to, you know, limit journalists and then make journalists so President is ready. We, you know, are ready as caucus. It's up to our friends who are pushing it to get it prioritized. The last one was a statement made that when I'm not in the chamber, my side, you know, has difficulty debating. That's also not true. I think that a lot of the time I've not been in the chamber. Even when I'm in the chamber, most of the time I'm just sitting there and watching my side. I because I'm leader, I try to be present at all times, but I'm not speaking at all times. A lot of the time I'm sitting there the whole day, I don't say anything. And everybody else is talking, and then they're pushing things, especially my chief whip. And I'm just sitting there and supporting where I need to. I only come in most of the time when I really think that there is, you know, there's a need to come in and then push the side. But most of the time, it's actually the MPs, the committee chairperson, and their ministers, and then committee members pushing their legislation to come in and then push decide. But most of the time, it's actually the MPs, the committee chairperson, and their ministers, and then committee members pushing their legislation, uttered the word. And yet they were debated and passed. So that's also not an accurate report. Pardon? Yeah, so I commend my MPs for the work that they do, and I will always be there to support whatever it is that we have to do together. I think on that note, we can...
Leader, please, my question was not answered.
Which one?
I'm here. Yes, I asked a question about what Parliament was doing, what events that have happened, the act of...
Oh, yeah, I thought your question was the same as the referrals to the Privileges Committee. And then also the special committee that was set to investigate the incidents relating to the vetting. I think those are I thought those were the reasons why you were asking that question. Even though you asked in a general sense, those are the facts that support your question. And those were matters we discussed earlier. We discussed that extensively. Like I told you that we will follow up on it, and then also I explained that the referral to privileges, and I'm sure you're talking about the ECOWAS Parliamenting and then the referral of my colleague to the Privileges Committee. And that's why I said that the chairperson of the Privileges Committee may not have had the opportunity to sit, because at the time we referred it, we were dealing with the budget, and then thereafter went on recess, and then it was Christmas, New Year, all sort of traditional festivals in everybody's constituency. And so it was difficult to convene Privileges Committee meetings, but I'm sure he will take it up now that we are back. Can I just thank all of you for coming, and our work will not be known to Ghanaians except through you, the journalists and the press corps. We want to appeal to you to bear with us. We may call on you to work at all times, but sometimes the pressure comes and we have to all comply in the national interest to get things passed. And so we will see how we address the issues that you have raised about training and building your capacity, about ensuring that you have adequate information to be able to follow what we are doing and to explain it to the public. And then also, we'll encourage the MPs to talk to you, because you also sometimes just need the interviews. I am the first person to be talked to. I tend to be quite reluctant with granting interviews. When I said that, I saw a few journalists looking at me and saying, but you want to ask you for interview? You decline. I only talk when I have to, because as a former information minister, I also know that too much talking can run you into trouble. Too much talking can run you into trouble. So as much as possible, unless I have to, I don't talk. You can come to me 100 times. I will find a way of goodbying you 100 times without an interview. Because, you don't want to be talking all the time. So I can see one of you is even flashing me now to remind me of an interview. I can see it somewhere from Joy. Anyway, Joy, have you seen it? It's you that okay. You put your phone in front of me. So we will try and then get the MPs to do a lot of talking so that you can have access. Once you're in the building, you should have access so that you can report back to your media houses. I know they evaluate you based on how many interviews you manage to get of MPs and chairmen of committees and etc. So we'll try and then talk to them to open up and engage you more frequently. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Leader. Thank you, Majority Whip and MP for Saudai, Honorable Roxanne Dafiamikpo, for joining us. We also thank the Leader, Mr. Clark, and his team for always supporting this activity of the Media Relations Department. And to our friends in the press corps, you are a veritable partner and we appreciate you. My name is Lawrence Kwatinyeshia, Deputy Director, Media Relations. I call on Usman Alassa to close us with a prayer. Thank you.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.
Thank you.
It's been a long 3 months break. What is technically a break, but it's not personally, because the period was an opportunity for a lot more engagement with the constituents in particular, and also with other stakeholder needs and requirements.
Let me say it's been long recess, almost for getting close to 3 months. Yes, it was a bit challenging. There was no resting for us because it's a recess, not a holiday, as Speaker will always say.
I began my community engagement, visited about 20 communities in my constituency. Then I also had some national obligations, parliamentary assignments. So I had to go to some countries, Peru, to Rwanda, to the US, and some other places to work, especially on some assignments that were given to me by my committee members and also the young parliamentarians.
It is a period for Parliament as Parliament to recess into some other activities. And those activities include many other activities which are still parliamentary in nature.
Break, as they call it, is not always break. That is the practical part of the job. Moving from one community to another, interacting with them, initiating projects in the various communities is very, very important.
You know, my committee, local government, we met a couple of times, and so I was always here. There were other engagements here and there, the constituency as usual. So it was even more busy than when we were in full section. We didn't have any time to rest at all.
An opportunity to reconnect with the people of Wale Wale, to update them on the happenings in Parliament. I used that period also to, launch a number of initiatives to support the people of Wale Wale. Key amongst them, the scholarship program I launched and then dispersed some financial support to over 140 students in various tertiary institutions across the constituency and attending schools across the country. I also, distributed some farming equipment. I gave about 100 machines, dry season water pumping machines or irrigating machines to over 100 farmers. I also used that as an opportunity to conclude the engagement with the constituents that every constituent or every community have now been engaged since I was elected as a member of parliament. And that was the conclusion of the first round of engagement with the people of Wale Wale.
The period was good to have some key meetings and build relationship with those who matter, and build relationship with those who can support your work in the house and also in the constituency. So it was a very good period for me.
It was engaging. As you know, the recess is to receive from the chamber and go to other parliamentary duties. One of the key parliamentary functions is engagement with the constituents, their needs, attending their programs, meeting their demands, and the rest?
Personally, it gave us time to do some bonding with our families. I got the opportunity to be sending my children back to school and picking them after school.
Even though Parliament was on recess, the ministry was not on recess. So I've been working throughout the period. But I managed to make some time to go around the constituency to meet my constituents and also to speak with them using the local media, which I do anytime I'm in the constituency.
Because of my role as chair of the Agri Committee, it brings us into interface with a lot of stakeholders in the space. And there were a lot of activities during the production period for food crops and so on. A lot of stakeholder engagements. The same with the fisheries subsector. There's a lot of transformation going on in the fisheries subsector. We got a new law. There's a lot of international cloud for Ghana on the new law. There's a declaration of marine protected area. There is Oceana and other bodies wanting to establish in Ghana to help in fighting IEU. There's engagements with the EU to lift the ban, the yellow card ban on fisheries and so on.
I spent time in the constituency, meeting groups, meeting people, and also availing myself so that people, my constituents, can come to me at a convenient place within the constituency where they can interact with me.
Apart from what happened in the constituency, I also participated in a number of programs outside the country. I was a speaker at this year's Specialized Technical Committee meeting of the African Union Commission in South Africa, and that was a very good experience, meeting policymakers and leaders from other parts of Africa, deliberating on how we can use domestic revenue mobilization to solve challenges with health financing in Ghana. I also participated in the United Nations General Assembly as a member of Ghana's delegation. It was a privilege for me to participate in some of the side events hosted by our President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who made all of us proud by that profound address to the UN General Assembly.
BEC graduates who are entering SS now, I was in the constituency to see to them and see what support could be given to them, even as they prepare to enter SHS. Prior to that, I visited the constituency to inspect ongoing projects within the constituency, and then also to interact with the community people on some of their needs. Those that we could address immediately, we try to address them, and those that we need to go and look for funding for it to reckon on.
When I went on this research, I made sure I put up about 3 chip compounds, because we are municipal and we are even changing mind to be a metropolitan. But when it comes to our government hospital, I've been frequent there, and it was in my manifesto that when I have the opportunity, when I have the power, I will make sure we have a very, affordable and very standard of health facilities.
I also had time to run some few health programs. So I did free health screening, registered people on national health insurance, got some people who are suffering from fibroid and hernia, operated upon, and I prayed for them, visited the hospitals that had new babies, and I ensured that I got them off by paying their medical bills and taking care of their parents, basically. I got some partners from America who came down to do a lot of eye surgeries. In fact, most of them were transported to Educhrome, which I facilitated. So they had their eye surgeries, slept over, and came back the next day.
I did a lot of community engagement. I explained to them some of the bills that will be presented to the House, those that we passed, and then some of the papers that were laid. And then I also espoused some of the projects that the government will be bringing on board, and those that have been able to also assist to get for the good people of Ashaiman.
Committee works along the line also came in. You need to sometimes come back and attend committee commitments as well. That sometimes took us out of Accra. And most of them were in Accra, visited all the agencies at the committee level, especially the Committee of Communication. Along the line, other committees also had engagement. It's about building the capacity of us, the members. Then the sports committee along the line also came in. Then board matters also came in along the line.
I actually took some 10 days leave so that I could take a break and go and sit in the constituency. I got approval from Flagstaff House, and I think the day or so before, then I was told that I had to go to Canada to go and do renaming of the Danda Square into the Sankofa Square. And by the time I got back to Ghana, the leave was gone. But that's what it's been for this time. But in the past 4 years, I've really used my recess very well.
You know, the Wa East is a rural constituency, and so I still have about 49 communities that are not connected to the national grid. So anywhere I went during that period in these communities, there was a huge concern about when are we going to get connected? When will the electricity come?
When it comes to Ashaiman, the major concern that we face is the road network. We have a very bad road network that is unimaginable to the extent that it affects motorists, pedestrians, and everybody, any road user. The bad nature of the roads affect them. But by and large, the government has started doing something in the constituency.
There's been many firsts in this parliament, both the 8th and the 9th parliament. So for the first time in the 8th parliament in the history of our country, we had what Mr. Speaker described as a hung parliament. And we had a sitting speaker who didn't come from the majority side, as has been the case, in the past. Then we had 20 women on each side, and that was also the first time. In this 9th parliament also, we've had another first.